Welcome to Technical Leadership Talks, the podcast that brings you advice, insights, and knowledge from industry leaders and experts on how to navigate managing in a technical field. Technical Leadership Talks is brought to you by Texas A&M University's Master of Engineering Technical Management, an online graduate program that trains industry professionals for leadership positions. I'm Katie, METM's digital marketer and your host for this episode. In today's episode, I am talking to Tyler Esters. He currently works as a plant manager at Closure Systems International and graduated with his METM degree in 2024. Today, we discuss returning to school as an adult with a family and the skills the METM program has helped develop in him. How did you end up in this line of work? What was your journey to get here?
So when I was in high school, I didn't really have a plan moving forward, getting out into the world and what being a grown-up looked like. I signed up for the military, and then somewhere along the way I met a girl, right? And who's now my wife. We have two beautiful kids, and it's all worked out. But I started looking at other paths, right? A company close by, an energy company close by, had a scholarship program with an associate's degree. So I did that. Ended up going out there, worked out there for 4 years. That company filed bankruptcy. And during that time, there was a lot of people working there. I said, I want to be on the job market with all of these other people, right? Not a lot of skills. So it opened my eyes in two ways. One, I need to get more skills, and two, I should probably start looking ahead of time. I started at Closure Systems International as a mechanic, went back to school for a business degree, achieved that. And along the way, I was able to progress into this company and became an engineer, kind of started focusing on automation and those kind of things. A couple of years later, I was given the opportunity to be an automation supervisor. And then started looking at where my next path continues to go, and ended up at A&M with the METM program.
So it was like moving into that supervisor role that kind of drew you to wanting to look into METM?
Yeah, I think part of it was the hardest part of going back to school as an adult, or I was 24, 25 whenever I started going back for my bachelor's, and it took a really long time. But I think the hardest part of that starting it. And then the second hardest part is being consistent in starting that, and then being consistent in staying, because it's very easy, semester to semester, you finish the semester, you take a deep breath, it's really easy to stop, especially in like a program like what I did for my bachelor's, where I had to take classes here, I had to take classes there. So I was having to just physically go to a class to get those credits and those kind of things while trying to work. And once I finally completed that, like saying, okay, this was the hardest thing in the world. I could go back and get my master's, and what does that look like? What does it look like to be like a C-suite employee? Like what do they have that I don't? So I started looking in the master's degree field.
So did the cohort aspect of METM help with the whole taking classes here and there thing, like help you finish the cohort?
Absolutely. There's two parts of that, right? There's accountability from your cohort, from your classmates. Yeah. To keep going. There's almost like parts where if somebody's having a hard time in life, and that you kind of see that in class, how the class would pick that up, and you're working with groups in a lot of cases. So a lot of that helped drive. And then the other part of it is like the classes seem designed around like the certain order. So if you were to stop, like after year one, I couldn't have imagined stopping. And then the other part is you're also looking forward to residency. You're looking forward to seeing the group again. And then that kind of kicks it off and runs you right into the next year.
The second year. So what was your favorite course or project in METM, and why?
My favorite course, maybe it's not necessarily a course, but we had the first semester we had personal coaching. And just having that availability with somebody that was a really good coach. I used Nellie. Nellie, an excellent coach that really gave me a lot of good feedback and helped me understand a lot of my strengths and a lot of areas I needed to work on. So that was number one for me as far as progression, and like, because that kick-started the program, right? You started getting that confidence. You started knowing where your strengths are, knowing where you need to concentrate as you go through the program in your classes and those kind of things. Outside of that, the capstone itself, I'm sure that's the answer you get from everybody, but the capstone was huge because it not only helped in school. I had a cool project. We did some 3D printing of molding components for plastic injection, which it was just generally cool, but I got to meet a lot of people in my company that I don't know, to get some of that recognition from some of the people that I work a lot closer with now today.
So kind of going off those last few questions and answers, what networking or mentorship opportunities did you gain through METM?
So there's like, it's funny because as I started seeing this, I started looking at some of the stuff, after you graduate, it's easy to get disconnected if you want to. But I started going back. Our group started a Discord, and we had I start going back, and it's funny because there's still conversation going on there.
Yeah.
But there's still that group, and there's still people that from the cohort that I talk to that I still text, every couple weeks or so and just check in on. And so there's still that group. And then, of course, a lot of these people are also professionals in their trade or in their field or in their company. So there's still those networking opportunities. Outside of that, I mean, just the Aggie network is, we got to meet with a customer last week that's one of the members that came here was a pretty high ranking representative from that company. They actually sponsor a tailgate at the football games, and they were
awesome.
like, yeah, anytime come by and see us. But so just building that network around somebody that could actually grow our business, and then automatically, because I'm an Aggie, he's an Aggie, there's already a relationship.
It's like
there.
Automatic connection.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to your Aggie core values, right?
How has your leadership style evolved since beginning METM?
So one of the first classes we had was around DISC, and like our personality style. So for me, I was a DI, meaning that I'm almost dead center, so equally between drive and personality. So through that, I knew my areas to concentrate on, being more analytical, being more reserved in certain situations, a lot of like meetings with customers and those kind of things. I can feel myself wanting to speak out more, but when it's time to listen. So it's definitely helped me become more centered and know when the right time is to use the certain traits. Yeah. But then again, it's also helped me be centered around growth. So since I've been in the plant manager here, one of the biggest things I'm for is internal promotions. And then foreseeing, having a field of employees that have the capabilities to move up as well. So it could be somebody who sweeps the floors at night kind of thing, but they want to do something different. How do we help them start getting ready to do something different? So are there specific skills or concepts from METM that you use in your daily work? So this is kind of like a spinoff of the last question, but if you have anything more you want to add to it. We had a team building class or project management class that had a lot to do with team building. So we talked about, project charters. It was in the early days of trying to get prepared for the capstone. We talked about like project charters and team assignments whenever you're going into meetings and like this organized attack on meetings. And that's something we've really started pushing here. So in our plant, we haven't always had that. We haven't really had a Six Sigma approach or anything of that nature. So now we're starting to push those things. And Six Sigma isn't something we learned in METM, but it's something we do here at the company. But regardless, METM kind of laid that foundation that I could take any kind of organized approach. It didn't have to be this cookie cutter. I didn't have to go teach everybody DISC. I could take any leadership method and encourage people to want to use that. Last question. Any last advice you would give to someone who's wanting to move into a management role? Yeah. So when I was first getting into management, I was pretty hard-nosed on that people don't change. So there was a lot of that. And then somebody told me one day, that it sticks with me, is that people change or people change. And so that's number one. I follow that up with accountability is also number one. Those two lie together. As a manager, accountability is the hardest part of your job. It's hard to release people from positions. It's hard to have hard conversations. It's hard to tell people where they need to improve. But that's the most important part. And people want to hear that. Good employees, good people that want to be leaders want to hear that. They'll take that feedback in a good way. Outside of that, METM is hard. It was not easy. It was a lot of work. It's funny, my wife and I talk about it, that there were a lot of 2 a.m., 3 a.m. nights because I was juggling 2 young kids, a marriage, a job that I was progressing in and taking on new responsibilities, and then in schools. And it was a way of life. You get used to it, but you'll blink and it's over, and then you're going to miss it too. You're going to miss the group you're with. You're going to miss residency is one of the most impactful times of your life. It's a short week. Like I said, you're blinking, it's over. Thank you for listening in to today's episode. Tech Leadership Talks is brought to you by Texas A&M University's Master of Engineering Technical Management. To learn more, visit metm.tamu.edu.